Hey, welcome to this week's Client Attraction Clinic. This is the place where we challenge conventional thinking, cut through the noise, and have real conversations about business, money, marketing, and what it actually takes to build a business with impact. So if you're tired of surface level advice, recycled talking points, and the same worn out scripts everybody else repeating, you're in the right place. Listen, my goal here is very simple to help you think more clearly, make better decisions, and see opportunities other people miss so that you can begin to attract clients instead of chasing them down. So, whether you're here to grow your business, strengthen your financial future, or just start asking better questions, I'm glad you're here. With that, let's get into this week's call. In this class, we're going to talk about how to stop chasing deals and review a 10-step blueprint that you can implement to build the business that you actually want. By the end of the class, you'll understand how to stop thinking like an agent and start thinking like a business owner. Question: what would your real estate business look like if it actually worked the way you wanted it to work? Not the way that it works right now, not the way that your broker says it should work, not the way some guru in the internet tells you it should work, not even the way you've accidentally built it because you were trying to survive your first few years in the business. I mean, if you sat down today and designed a real estate business you actually wanted, what would it look like? Would you be chasing random buyers every weekend, hoping somebody in your database remembered you? Sit there and wait for the phone to ring, hoping that interest rates come down, checking your bank account between closings, wondering when is the next deal going to hit? Would you really spend half your day doing paperwork, figuring out social media posts, updating your CRM, trying to learn ads, answering random questions, and doing a bunch of $10 an hour work that shouldn't even be on your plate? Probably not, right? For most agents, that's exactly what their business looks like. They're busy, they're working, they're taking classes, going to meetings, posting on social media, doing open houses. They're doing everything they've been told to do, but they're not building a business. They're building a job. And in all reality, they're building a job that's way more stressful, way more inconsistent, and more demanding than the job they wanted to escape when they got into real estate. So today, what I'd like to do is slow this whole thing down and ask a better question. What would the perfect real estate business for you actually look like? Because once you define that, then we can reverse engineer the plan. Make sense? And that's what this entire series is all about. Not talking about random tactics, not chasing every new shiny object, not pretending that posting 3 times a week on Instagram is a business model. We're going to talk about building a real operation, not a job, a business that creates predictable income that gives you control and leverage. It's a business that's built around listings, a business that can survive good markets and bad markets, and a business that doesn't require you to personally do every single task yourself forever. And most importantly, a business that gives you a purpose and a plan, because that's where most agents are missing it. They're working hard without a plan, and hard work without a plan usually creates exhaustion, certainly not wealth. So let's start with the reality. The real estate industry has changed dramatically, dramatically. The market's changed. Consumer expectations have changed. Interest rates have changed. Inventory's changed. Buyer behavior, totally different. The commission conversation, that's changed, hasn't it? Lead costs have changed, and the level of competition, that's changed. So the old way of doing business is not going to be enough. The old way was simple: get licensed, tell everyone you're in real estate, post a few listings, go to some meetings, work with some buyers, hope your friends and family refer you, buy a few leads if things get slow, try to get a listing when one falls in your lap, and then basically repeat that cycle forever. Now, that worked for some agents for a while, but listen, that's not predictable. It's not a business model. It's not scalable. It's not controllable. And it's definitely not the foundation for a seven-figure business. So the first shift I want you to make is this: stop asking, how do I get another deal? And start asking, what business am I actually building? Because those are completely different questions. The agent who is only asking, how do I get another deal, will usually chase whatever's in front of them: a buyer lead, a rental lead, a random referral, a low probability internet lead, a cold prospect who doesn't know them, trust them, or value them. And listen, I get it. You have bills to pay. You need closings. You need income. You need momentum. But if you never graduate from chasing the next transaction to building the actual machine, you're always going to stay strapped. Unfortunately, that's a trap that most agents find themselves in. They're in production, but they're not in control. They have deals, but they don't have predictability. They have activity, but they don't have leverage. They have a license, but they don't have a business. So let's talk about what a better model looks like. So if we're designing the perfect real estate business, the first thing I'd want is simple. I'd want a business that thrives in good markets and bad. Because if your income only works when rates are low or inventory is moving, buyers are excited, and sellers are easy to find, then you don't have a durable business because that's not the reality. We need to operate in reality, folks, not hope. You have a market dependent business, and that's dangerous. See, the market is simply not always going to cooperate. It's not now, is it? Interest rates are not always going to be ideal. Inventory is not always going to be balanced. Buyers are not always going to be motivated. Sellers are not always going to be easy to convince. So your business can't be built around perfect conditions. It must be built around strategies. Now, that means you need to know who you serve, where to find them, what problems they have, what message matters to them, and what system you're going to use to stay in front of them consistently. See, the agents who survive market change are not necessarily the agents who work the hardest. My experience, they're not the ones that work the hardest at all. They're the agents who build the most strategic businesses. Second, I would want a consistent, reliable source of referrals. I mean, think about how powerful that could be. So imagine if you had sources sending you business every single month, not by accident, not once in a while, not because you got lucky, but because you actually had a referral system. Past clients referring to you, local businesses referring to you, financial professionals referring to you, attorneys referring to you, right? Divorce and probate attorneys, estate planners, senior service providers, other agents in other markets referring you, people in your database referring you. That would change everything, wouldn't it? Because referral business is different. Referral business usually comes with more trust, the leads warmer, the conversations are easier, the conversation is stronger, and the relationship starts at a higher level. But most agents don't have a referral strategy, let alone a system. See, they have referral hope. They hope somebody remembers them. They hope somebody says their name. They hope a past client sends them a friend. They hope their sphere thinks of them. But hope is not a strategy. A real business has a referral process. Now, later in this series, we're going to break all of it down in detail. Third, the perfect real estate business would be listing center. Listen, I know a lot of agents don't like hearing that, and I'm not saying buyers are bad. I'm not saying you should never work with buyers. I'm not even saying you should abandon your buyer clients. But what I am saying is that if you study the agents who create the most leverage, take the most market share, have the most visibility, and have the highest income, they're all listing focused agents. It's just a fact, folks. Here's a quick list of the benefits of listings. First, they're the foundation that scale. Listings create market presence, buyer leads, open house traffic, neighborhood visibility. Listings create proof. They create seller conversations. They create opportunities for buyer's agents. They create content. They create social proof. Listings create referral opportunities. You see, listings aren't just transactions, they're a business asset. And when you start thinking that way, your entire business changes. See, the average agent thinks, I got a listing, great, I hope I sell it. The business minded agent says, I've got a listing. Now, how do I leverage that listing to create 5 more opportunities? That's the shift that I recommend you make. Fourth, I'd want a database of highly targeted homeowners and potential sellers, not just a CRM of old leads, not just a bunch of names you forgot about or people you met at open house 3 years ago who never heard from you again. I'm talking about a real targeted database, a database of people who are likely to sell, likely to move, likely to need your help, and likely to know someone who needs your help. See, for many agents, a database is just a storage unit. They put names in it and they never do anything with it. Now, how is that going to breed success for you, right? See, that's not a strategy. The database is just a storage unit. They put names in it and never do anything meaningful with it. See, that's not a database strategy. That's digital hoarding. A real database is an asset. but it only becomes an asset when you market to it, follow up with it, nurture it, educate it. For many agents, a database is just a storage unit. They put names in it and never do anything meaningful with them. See, that's not a database strategy, it's digital hoarding. A real database is an asset, but it only becomes an asset when you market to it, follow up with it, nurture it, educate it, and stay visible. And that requires a plan. Are you emailing? Are you texting? Are you making phone calls? Are you using direct mail? Are you retargeting? Do you have a social media strategy? Do you do videos, market updates, home value offers, equity updates, client reviews, referral requests, community content? See, a database without communication is simply not a business asset. It's just a list. And a list doesn't pay you. A relationship pays you. Visibility pays you. Trust pays you. And consistency pays you. Fifth, I'd want consistent sources of low cost leads. Now, let me just be clear here. I'm not against paid leads. I'm not against advertising, and I'm not against online lead generation. But the goal should not to become permanently dependent on expensive third-party lead platforms that can change the rules, raise the prices, reduce the quality, or take more of your commission whenever they want. You see, you need lead sources that you control: your database, your listings, your open houses, your referral partners, your local network, your content, your direct mail, your retargeting, your past clients, your niche databases. Your business relationships, folks, is your brand. That's why I created a platform for my agents of a high intent seller lead that has a 60 to 80% chance of selling. So if you ever think a platform like that could possibly help your business, go ahead and schedule a call and we could talk. You see, the more lead sources you control, the more stable your business becomes. The fewer lead sources you control, the more vulnerable you are. It's that simple. It's just the truth, folks. Six, I'd want marketing support. And this is where a lot of agents get stuck. They know they need marketing content, database, follow up, ads, email, social media, but they try to do all of it themselves. And then what happens? It doesn't get done consistently. Or worse yet, it gets done poorly. Or it gets done for 2 weeks and then stops. Or the agent spends so much time trying to figure out Canva, Facebook ads, CRM automations, emails, postcards, all of that, they stop doing the high value work in their business. It's one of the biggest traps in real estate. Agents spend their best hours, unfortunately, doing low value work because they're trying to save money. But the money they think they're saving is actually costing them closings. Let me say that again. The money you think you're saving is costing you closings. If you spend 6 hours trying to design a postcard, that's 6 hours you are not having listing conversations. If you spend 4 hours trying to figure out an email automation, it's 4 hours you weren't building referral relationships. If you spend all weekend trying to create, I don't know, social media graphics, that's time you weren't meeting sellers, following up with leads, or improving your listing presentation. At some point, you just have to ask yourself a hard question. Are you doing $10 an hour work? Or are you doing $10,000 an hour work? Because the top agents, they understand this. Their highest value activities is not designing flyers. Their highest value activities are not uploading contacts. They're not formatting email templates. They're not Their highest value activities are listing appointments, seller strategy calls, referral partner meetings, high value follow up that builds authority and conversations that create business. See, that doesn't mean the other tasks don't matter. They absolutely matter, but they should be systemized, delegated, automated, or supported as quickly as possible. Seven, I'd want marketing support for prospecting and follow up because the top agents understand this. The highest value activities are not designing flyers. They're not uploading contacts. Their highest value activities are not formatting email templates. Their highest value activities are listing appointments, seller strategy calls, referral partner meetings, high value follow up, content that builds authority, and conversations that create business. Now, that doesn't mean other tasks don't matter. They absolutely matter, but they should be systemized, delegated, automated, or supported as quickly as possible. Seven, I would want marketing support for prospecting and follow up. I mean, think about what happens if you have buyer's agents to help with circle prospecting or database calls, event and open house invitations, follow up reminders. open house follow up, and appointment setting. Now the business has motion even when you're not personally doing every task. That's leverage. And leverage is one of the biggest differences between an agent who owns a job and an agent who owns a business. Now, most agents are the entire machine. They're the marketer, they're the salesperson, the admin, the transaction coordinator, the content creator, the follow up department, the database manager, the open house host, the listing coordinator, the buyer agent, the customer service department. Heck, I'm exhausted. I'm out of breath just from listing all that out. You see, when you're everything, nothing gets done at the level it should. So the goal's not just to get busier, the goal is to build a machine where every important function has a process and eventually a person or a system responsible for it. Now, eight, I want a personal brand that makes me known for something specific. See, that's a massive issue in real estate. Most agents are not known for anything. They're just known as, well, I'm an agent. And that's a problem because if your market sees you as just another agent, then you're replaceable. You're competing on personality, convenience, relationship, or commission for a specific result or a process or a specific type of client or a specific promise or a specific promise. Now you're building a brand. For example, you're known as the agent who helps sellers protect their equity, or you're known as the agent who creates massive buyer competition, or you're known as the agent who they help seniors downsize with less stress, or the agent who helps divorcing homeowners navigate that sale carefully and professionally. See, are you known as an agent who helps homeowners sell before they buy? Are you known as the agent who helps investors reposition their portfolios? Are you known as the agent who brings private buyers and sellers together? Are you known as the agent who has a proven listing process? You see, when you have all that, you have a brand. See, branding is not your logo, it's not your colors, it's not your headshot. Branding is what people believe you can do for them. And the stronger that belief becomes, the easier your market gets. Nine, I'd want multiple revenue streams, but don't think enough about. They rely on one thing, personal production. If they can personally close a deal, they get paid. If they don't close a deal, they don't get paid. Gosh, that's a risky model, isn't it? Now, personal production may always be a major part of your business, especially in the beginning. But as you grow, you should start thinking about additional revenue streams, referral fees, buyer agent splits, team overrides, ancillary service relationships. Of course, they got to be compliant, coaching or training income if that fits your model, investment opportunities, partnerships, revenue share opportunities, depending on your brokerage model, listing leverage that creates buyer side referral opportunities. The point is not to chase everything. The point is to stop thinking like a salesperson and start thinking like a business owner who asks, how many ways can this business that I own create income? You see, an agent stuck in survival mode is always asking, when's my next closing? See, those are very different questions. 10th, I'd want a business that gives me control of my time. Because what's the point of making more money if the business owns you? Seriously, what's the point? You see, if you make more money, but you're always stressed and you're always available and you're always behind and you're always reacting and you're always missing family time, always working nights and weekends and you're exhausted, is that really how we would define success? I don't think so. What do you think? See, a real business should give you more options, not fewer, more freedom, not less, more control, not less, more peace, not less. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying you don't work, and I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not even saying you can build a serious business with no effort. It's nonsense. You have to work, you have to focus, you have to make decisions. Here's the key, though, you need to build systems. You'll have to do things you may not feel like doing, but the work should be leading somewhere. The work should be building an asset. The work should be installing systems that reduce chaos over time. You see, if you've been in the business for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years, if you've been in the business for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years, and every year feels like starting over, something's wrong. You shouldn't have to restart your business every January. You should be building momentum, a database, a brand, building referrals, grabbing listing inventory, building relationships, building proof of results. You need content systems and most importantly, leverage. Here's the hard truth, folks. Most agents never build this because they never define it. They just keep doing whatever's in front of them. And when you only do what's in front of you, urgent always beats the important. A buyer wants to see a house, so you go. A lead comes in, so you chase it. A deal has a problem, so you react. A client has a question, so you stop doing everything. A lender needs something, so you handle it. A transaction has a deadline, so you jump. Now, some of that's just part of the business, but if your entire business is built around reacting, you'll never scale. It's critical that you install proactive lead generation systems and a referral system along with listing systems, an open house system, a database system, follow-up systems, consistent content system, and a proactive business plan. See, that's how you're going to move from chaos to control. Now, let's talk about the mental shift that has to happen. You see, you're not just a real estate agent, you're now the CEO of your business. That means you and only you are responsible for the model. You're responsible for the message, the systems, the standards, the numbers, the offer, the client experience, and the strategy. And that's the good news, because if you're responsible, that means you're also in control. You may not control the market or interest rates or inventory or what Zillow does or what your competitors do. You don't even control the economy, but you do control your plan, your positioning, your follow up, your database, your referral strategy, your listing process, your daily schedule, your standards. You control whether you keep doing low value work or you start building leverage. And that's where the opportunity lies. So here's what I want you to do after this episode. I want you to take out a piece of paper and answer these questions. Number one, what would my perfect real estate business look like? And I want you to be specific. How many closings, listings? How much money do you want to make? How many hours a week do you want to work? How many weeks off per year? What kind of clients? That's an important question. What kind of listings? What kind of support? Kind of reputation? Kind of referral network? Kind of database? What kind of daily schedule? Folks, that requires you to sit down, take out a piece of paper, and think this through. Number two, what part of my current business is farthest away from that vision? Is it lead generation or lead conversion? Is it listings or branding or referrals or operations or delegation or follow up or time management? Number three, what am I doing right now that's a $10 an hour work? Be honest. What are the tasks you should not still be doing? What are the things that could be delegated, automated, templated, or eliminated? Number four, what are my $10,000 an hour activities? Now, for most agents, those are your listing appointments, your seller conversations, your referral partner meetings, the high value follow up, content that builds authority, lead conversion, and strategic business development. Number five, what business am I actually committed to building? Not interested in building, not thinking about building. That's someday I'll do it. Committed to building, because there's a difference. Interest gives you ideas, commitment creates change. So as we close today, I want you to understand something. This is not about motivation. Motivation fades. It's about architecture. We're going to build the architecture of a better real estate business, a business that's listing centered, a business that's referral driven, a business that's built on process, that creates value, that gives sellers a clear reason to hire you, a clear reason to send people to you, a business that gives you more control over your time, your income, and your future. And that all starts by defining the model. So let me bring this home. If you keep operating without a model, you're going to keep reacting to whatever shows up. Level off or wonder why, gosh, my business never became what I thought it would become. A business that gives sellers a clear reason to hire you. A business that gives buyers a clear reason to work with you. A business that gives referral partners a clear reason to send people to you. And a business that gives you more control over your time, your income, and your future. Folks, that starts by defining the model. So let me just bring this home for you. If you keep operating without a model, you'll keep reacting to whatever shows up. If you keep reacting to whatever shows up, you'll keep feeling busy, but not in control. And if you keep feeling busy, but not in control, you're just going to eventually burn out, level off, or wonder why this business never really became what you thought it would become. Create real value propositions, nurture your database, build referral networks. Folks, it just gets easier. It becomes simpler. Not necessarily easy, but simpler, because now you know what you're building. And once you know what you're building, you can finally create the plan to build it. And that's what we're going to do in this series. Now, in the next episode, we're going to talk about the 5 core principles. We're going to talk about the 5 core principles of a successful real estate business: lead generation, lead conversion, listing expertise, personal branding, and referral networks. See, once you nail those 5 principles, you'll be able to diagnose exactly where your business is strong, where it's weak, and what you need to do to fix it. So here's your action step for today. Write down your perfect real estate business. Don't be vague. Don't make it cute. Don't write motivational fluff. Write the actual business model. How many listings, referral partners, how many people in your database, how many active listings, how much income, how many hours, what support do you need, what revenue streams do you want? And then ask yourself, what's the first system I need to build to move closer to that business? Because that's where the work begins. Now, if you want the full framework, you can get a free guide that I created, the 15-hour client attraction method. What it'll do is it'll help you build a lead generation and follow-up process that turns more interest into appointments without relying on improvisation and hope. Best of all, it can be done in less than 15 hours a week. And that's where smarter growth begins. So you can download that at www.15hourmethod.com. That's 15hourmethod.com. So with that, I'll sign off for the week. Go out, start building your machine. We'll talk to you next week.